time for the November TBR, which I thought was reasonable until I held the stack of books, and now I'm questioning myself. We'll start with my obligations for book clubs and buddy reads and everything, and continue into the nebulous space of, I would love to read this, but will I? Who knows? Because that's how TBRs work. I did kind of plan it out like I normally do, where I'm planning for about 100 pages a day, but here's the thing. I'm working on my thesis. I am in full writing mode right now, which means I have to work really hard on that, and I don't always have enough brain power at the end of the day to read because I'm reading that. And I mean, it's not a fun thing to read, but it's what I've been doing. And then there's Thanksgiving, which I usually go home for the entire week, and sometimes I have a lot of time to read, and sometimes I don't. Sometimes I'm playing games with my mom. Sometimes I'm helping set up. We do a lot of preparing for Christmas things, like baking cookies and decorating trees. I had a whole vlog about it last year, and maybe I'll vlog it again this year, because it's super fun. I love that week, but it's not always a big reading week. So there's a lot of stuff that maybe I'll be reading less. But I still want to read all these things, and there were actually so many other books that I wanted to put on this list, and I just held myself back. I'm just be realistic. You can always mood read and pivot to those things if you want. But that's enough preamble. Here we go. So for my local book club, we need to read The Shadow King. What I know about this, it's about Ethiopia and World War II, specifically the woman soldiers who don't get featured a lot in history. I mean, Ethiopia doesn't get featured a lot in history for World War II. So I don't know specifically what it's about. I know Mussolini is the main figure that I know of in history that takes part in this story, and I've heard amazing things. So that's what I'm reading for book club. Then for the Patreon buddy read, thankfully it's a novella, and this is The Black Tides of Heaven. I think this is the start of a quartet of novellas that I'm hoping to love. A lot of my friends who have read it think that I will really like it. This is the first one. I don't know a lot about it. I do think it explores gender identity in a fantasy setting, and it's Asian-inspired fantasy, so I'm curious to see all of that sounds good to me, but that's the buddy read. That's the one that's getting the spoiler vlog. And then what did my patrons choose for me to read? Well, they couldn't decide. So I'll read both because it was literally 50-50, and I had them vote on novellas this month. So half the votes were for The Ocean at the End of the Lane by Neil Gaiman. So I'm going to probably read this. I've been playing around with the idea of reading it on the long car ride to Ohio, because the last time I read it was somewhere in upstate New York on that long car ride, so it just feels appropriate. And then they also voted for When the Tiger Came Down the Mountain, which I also desperately need to read. So this is the sequel to The Empress of Salt and Fortune, and I know it's the same world. I don't know if it's the same story told from a different angle, but I really loved the formatting and writing style of the first one, and I know this one is different, but I am excited to see those differences. Next up, I have another novella. This is apparently the month of novellas, but don't worry, I also have very intimidating tomes on here too, but this is The Hour of the Star by Clarice Lispector. I am buddy reading this with Leslie at The Nerdy Narrative because she loves this author. I think our friends at the Codex Cantina did a review earlier this year, probably in September, and I was just man, they both gave it such rave reviews. I'm I need to get to this, and Jocelyn gifted it to me for my birthday last year. So it'd be nice to read it before my next birthday, which is in December. So buddy reading this with Leslie. And then I have my other big buddy read. My big buddy read commitment is it's time for Stephanie and I to continue our Wheel of Time journey. We are going to try and read books 7 and 8 of Wheel of Time. I think the first one's called A Crown of Swords, and the other one is called The Path of Daggers. These names mean nothing to me. There's just the noun of nouns. I don't know. But regardless, we are entering the least loved section of the Wheel of Time. Some refer to it as the slog, and I was telling her, if we only do one book a season for the slog, it's going to take us a whole year to get through the slog, and I think I want to speed that up a little. So we're going to try and read both of these in November. I'm not going to be upset if some of that goes into December, especially since it's my audiobook time, but we will see. I'm just excited to have someone to go through the slog with. If I had to do it by myself, I think I'd be way less excited. And I think there's one more obligation, and I'm very excited about this one. The Bitter Twins by Jen Williams, the second book in the Winnowing Flame series. We have been buddy reading this on my Discord, so if you want to join in, you can still read The Ninth Reign and then just, click on all our spoiler chats as you go and join in with The Bitter Twins. I'll have a separate channel for this one. And I do try to make sure that there are no spoilers unless they are clearly marked by chapters. And I have been loving The Ninth Reign, and I can already tell I'm going to need this right away. And I'm excited that we already have slotted, I think it's the Poison Song? Yeah, it's the Poison Song. It's down here for December, because I am just excited about binging out this trilogy. I don't really know how to explain this other than it has a really cool world. It has a kind of like... I mean, my favorite part is the character chemistry and banter. We have really well fleshed out, vibrant characters that engage with each other in really cool ways. We have different species. We have a cool world with a really rich past and fascinating world building. Like, these are all the things I am loving about it, and I'm excited to continue following these characters and figuring out what they're gonna do. I haven't finished The Ninth Reign while I'm filming this, so I don't even know where the first book leaves off and like how much I'm going to need this book. But this is on the TBR. So now the rest of the stack is just me being me. So this one is actually one that might not happen, but I really want it to, so I can get to Jade Legacy sooner rather than later, and that is Jade War by Fonda Lee. I am listening to the audiobook now, and I'll probably try and listen to the audiobook of this, although most of my audiobook time this next month is going to be Wheel of Time focused. But I am excited to reread this because I am loving my reread of Jade City, and I had a mixed experience with Jade War. Not because the quality was different or because I suddenly didn't like the characters, but because I had the wrong expectations going into this, what the pacing would be. And now that I know the pacing, I'm excited to re-experience it again and also try out the audiobook. So this is a thing I really like to get to because Jade Legacy comes out November 30th. And although I have an ARC, I pre-ordered it. So I want to read the copy that I purchased because otherwise, then what's the point? Well, it could just be for collecting, obviously. But I would like to read the copy that I purchased and then have the ARC as for ebook at night and stuff. So this is one I'd like to get to that I think is manageable. And then the one that I really hope that I get to read like during my Thanksgiving break, and like who knows if it'll happen, but that's my reread of The Mask of Mirrors. I really want to get this in November at some point or early December because it comes out on the 9th of December, barring any issues with paper and stuff like that. And I just want to be back at this, especially because reading City of Lies last month, it had me feeling for this type of story, but I wasn't getting this story, and I want it back. I want to be back with these people, with the ballroom politics. Again, it's another series like with Winnowing Flame, where I love the character interactions. It's like my favorite thing, so it's going to be so cozy. So I'd love to sit next to like the Christmas tree we just decorated and like read in my reading chair this big floppy book. Because I've actually never read from this copy. I bought it after I read the ARC. So that would be nice. Who knows? I also want to read Ursa Major. I started this in October, but I could not finish it. I just ran out of time and energy as I started ramping up my work for my thesis, which is fair, but I am really interested in it, and as you can probably notice, there is very minimal sci-fi on this TBR, because this happens to me every year of my life, and I don't know how to fix it, but for some reason, come fall and winter, I suddenly only read fantasy, and I forget to put sci-fi on my TBR, and this happened even before BookTube. This is just who I am. Like, this time of year is like, get into that cozy, long fantasy series time of year. And I think part of it is Sanderson usually releases books in November, which you'll notice that's not on my TBR, but that's neither here nor there. I don't dislike the Skyward series. I'm just not as excited as everyone else. And I don't know, I'm trying to force myself to have a little bit of sci-fi on the TBR because I do love it, and I hate when I suddenly am like, oh my god, all of these series I want to commit to because all of their new releases are coming out. Because I think that's it too. Because Jade Legacy is coming out. I want to read The Bone Shard Emperor, which is also not in this TBR because I don't think I'll have time. Like, series releases for fantasy are so big in November. And I know, like, The Expanse has its new book coming out, but, like, I haven't even read the first one, so we're not even going to try that. I'll wait to see if people like the 9th book or something. But in that vein, another sci-fi that I'm like, treat yourself. If you have time, this is the one that should be on the official as these can be, TBR, and that's The Galaxy Game by Karen Lord. I've owned this for a long time now, and I have not read it. And I'd like to. Look at this swan. This is the same world as The Best of All Possible Worlds, but it follows a character that we only get briefly introduced to in that book. I love Karen Lord's words and how she forms sentences with them. She is a great author for me, and with her new release coming out in January, I'd like to finish reading her backlog before that. So I have 2 books, this and Unraveling, and I'm rereading Redemption in Indigo in December. So would be the ideal time if I have time, and it's not that long, and it's a sci-fi, so we're doing good. And then the book that's just going to be in the background when I need to feel quick shots of productivity is The Mythic Dream, which is the anthology that I started in October. It's an anthology written by many authors taking different myths and revamping them. So I think that's it. Obviously, like I mentioned, there are other sequels I would love to get to. I would love to read the newest book in the Conductors series. That's one by Nicole Glover that I read last year. I would love to read The Bone Shard Emperor. Maybe I can do it if I suddenly have a lot of reading time. Like if I am productive enough to get my thesis to a point where I can let myself have a reading vacation, I'm going to do it. That's like my reward. But I know me. I'm not good at writing. I'm not good. And then on top of that, I started rewatching Bones, which is like one of my favorite TV shows. And so I don't imagine reading more than what I've put on this TBR. But one can hope. What do you think your November reading plans are going to be like? Are you like me where you're like, I don't know what my reading time is going to be like? In theory, I have more vacation in November than other months, but that vacation is going to be used in a different way. So who knows? If you want to leave an emoji, leave a star or a sun. Something that this cover reminds you of. This cover is so neon, and I really love it for that. It is so short. That's what's also nice. This TBR has 4 novellas, which I can do that. I can read 4 novellas. But if you liked it, subscribe if you want to, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.